Most people never get to go behind the scenes at a major Hollywood studio like Warner Brothers, but you are right now. We're diving into the creative process and the art of storytelling from one of the most amazing working studios in entertainment.
Take one, mark.
Action! Turning an idea into a spectacular adventure, epic love story, or tragic tale takes courage and creativity.
Story is our greatest superpower.
And what better way to discover the superpower of story than with the people who create your favorite superhero adventures? In this virtual field trip, you'll get an exclusive look at how writers and artists dream up big characters and build exciting worlds. And see how technology can make stories leap into action, off the page, and onto the big screen. This is where movie magic happens. I'm on the Warner Brothers studio lot in Burbank, California, where hit movies like Barbie, Wonka, and Kong Skull Island got their start. It's also home to DC headquarters and legendary heroes like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. The spectacular tale of these characters blend action, drama, and mythology.
Home. Take me home.
So what do you think these superhero stories have in common with every great story? Great stories revolve around one big idea or message. They have memorable characters with obstacles to overcome, and they take us on an emotional ride with twists, turns, and side stories that keep it interesting. Who is your all-time favorite character? Sometimes a story is so good you want to tell someone else about it. But what is it that makes a story so powerful that we want to share it? I got the answer from Tim Sheridan. He's a writer for popular series like Teen Titans, The Green Lantern, and Justice League. I caught up with Tim on the studio backlot.
I mean, I walk around this place where I get to work every day, and there's so much history. These buildings have been in countless movies and TV shows. It's where story is born. Story is a tool we use to talk about what it means to be a human being. And maybe we realize that we share a lot in common. Our greatest superpower that we use as storytellers is the truth. It's honesty. I think when we see ourselves or something we identify with on screen, on stage, in a book, or even just in talking to someone else, it has the ability to make us think more about our ideas, about the world, about who we are, about what we think, about what we want to do. Story is all about imagination. This place wouldn't exist without the imagination of the people that built it. I know this looks like a real city street, but it's not. But with a little bit of dressing, a little bit of sparkle, it can become anything you imagine. You start with an idea, but ideas shouldn't just stay in our heads. Well, maybe sometimes they should. But good ideas, you want to get them out there. And a way that we do that is by telling stories. I would watch a story on television or in the movie theater, and when the movie was over, I wanted more. I was a big action figure collector. So I would play with my toys. I would create a story and dialogue, and I would do their voices. I feel like I've been telling stories my whole life, and the fact that I get to work in a place where really everybody is here united by story. And it's the most incredible feeling in the world. There aren't a lot of new stories. When you look at the central themes and the central idea of what the story is, it may have been told 100 times before, but has it been told by you? You've got your own perspective, you've got your own experience. If it comes from you, it doesn't matter how many times that story's been told, it's gonna be new. The greatest advice I ever got: done is better than good. We all want to tell good stories, but no one's ever gonna hear it unless you finish it. So sit down, get to writing. It's just about taking that first step And what helps me to do that is I try not to think about the outcome. I try not to think I'm going to write the greatest story. I try not to think of how it's going to even end. We make movies and TV shows here, but stories can be anything. There are books, there are plays, stories we tell each other, all the way back to paintings on cave walls. Stories have always been a part of who we are as human beings. Sometimes you're the only storyteller, but sometimes you're working with a lot of other people, a lot of other storytellers, writers and actors and artists and wardrobe designers. Every one of those storytellers is adding a piece to the puzzle that is ultimately going to be that story that's going to be told. It is a lot of people coming together with a single vision that unites them. You have the ability with storytelling to change the world. I know that sounds huge, but you really do. You can change people's minds, and the first way that you can change people's minds is by changing their hearts. The world changes based on the stories that we tell.
The most interesting characters in a story are complex, just like real people. They're not all good or all bad. Conflict, the struggle between different ideas or goals, often drives the action of great stories. It's what forces characters to make tough choices. Many of the characters on this wall at DC headquarters are in conflict with each other. 1,400 heroes and villains make up this masterpiece that took more than 500 hours to complete. Sometimes a writer's single choice in a story can change a character's path. Next, meet a dynamic duo who create well-developed characters, using different talents to make the story feel real and relatable even in the most extraordinary circumstances.
I was a big bookworm, and I would walk around with a book in my hands all the time.
When I was a kid, the first thing I did was draw as soon as I could hold a pencil. Hi, I'm Kat Staggs, and I am a comic book artist.
I'm Amanda Diber, and I am an author. I write comic books, and I write for television. Creating a comic book is a team project. As a writer, you have to kind of think in pictures.
As an artist, you always have to remember that words go on this page too. You always have to consider all of the other elements involved in putting this book together.
And how we can all work together to create this story. So often writing a story comes in multiple stages. You usually start with your idea. Sometimes it's called a premise. Then you're gonna outline it, and you're gonna kind of say like, okay, what do I want the beginning to be like? What do I want the middle to be like? How do I want it to end? Then you're gonna fill in kind of the steps of what you think you're gonna do to get there. Then you write the first draft. You just throw all your ideas out there. You write it, you don't worry about it. You also get to pick the order that you want to write your story in. It doesn't have to be beginning, middle, end. If there's something that excites you about your story, some scene you can't wait to write, go ahead and write it. So the first thing that I do when I'm writing a story is I think about the main character or the group of main characters if it's a team. You want to think about what a character wants, you want to think about what they need, and then you want to think about what some of the obstacles are going to be that can get in the way of what your character wants and needs. What you definitely don't want is a really boring story where everything your character wants and needs, they get. Then you start doing revisions, where you get to rewrite and you read the story and you keep what works and you change what you don't like. I get notes from my editor, who's the person that kind of makes sure everything makes sense and flows. They're also looking at what the artist is doing and making sure that it matches up with the story and that we haven't missed something really important. It's really important to, when you hear feedback, to understand that it's coming from a place of wanting the story to be awesome, not of wanting you to feel bad or to hurt your feelings.
An artist's role in telling a story is a little bit twofold. I mean, you need to make sure the viewer follows the story without the words, but then also enhance the words. I tend to do a lot of research. Usually the kind of research I do is if there are specific landmarks or specific locations, specific buildings, specific car. When you're reading the script, you really want to pay attention to the emotion that the writer's trying to convey. If they're saying, you know, someone's, they're mad, and you draw someone going, that's, you know, that doesn't work. Other ways to fill out the story in the page, you can play with lighting, play with bright lights, big shadows. They can create really dramatic moods. You can play with framing and your composition within each frame. You just want to make sure stuff flows from left to right.
It's really, really fun when you get to see the art and then you see the lettering that comes in, and all of that adds so much to the experience of the story because it's so much better than what I imagined in my head.
Every pro was a beginner once, even Amanda and Kat. Like any skill you want to improve, consistent practice will help you get better. Take drawing, for example. Batman is a complex character, but drawing him starts with simple geometric shapes. Look closely. Do you see any? Basic shapes are often the building blocks for creating more detailed characters. Just ask self-taught Superman artist Jerry Gaylord. Watch how he uses shapes to create a brand new character. If you have a piece of paper, you can draw along.
I think I'm going to start with the square. I am known for drawing superheroes and storyboards. My absolute all-time favorite thing to draw is Superman. I love the colors, I love what the character stands for, and I love all the cool stories that he gets into. I use these basic shapes to really just block in what I want. I am self-taught, and way back when I was about 4 years old, I had always spent my time just drawing and getting better through practice. We don't have to worry about making mistakes. These are just easy shapes. So I think I want this character to be a flying character. So I'm going to add in some big shapes back here to give him some wings, because wings are fun. I think an artist is a storyteller because every illustration is a story. I don't just draw a character standing like this character. I draw him flying because that tells a story. Now that all my sort of basic geometric shapes are in place, we're going to start to build the character out and, you know, give him some of the things that will make him like a cool superhero. We don't have to worry when we're sketching about being super precise because we're just sketching. Even as a professional, I spend most of my time sketching and much less of my time on the actual finished, clean work because all the important stuff happens here. It can sound a little silly because a lot of the stories that I tell are about people who can fly and shoot laser beams out of their eyes. But the truth in those stories is usually an emotional truth. When you're telling a story, you want to be able to relate to the characters. We want to experience their triumphs and their tragedies. Those are truly the things that make a great story. If you want to achieve anything in art, if you want to do art professionally, you just have to sit down and draw. And the more you do it, the better you'll get. All right, so I think we're just about there. This character that we've come up with today, I think he's got wings, he's got sort of armor, and he's flying. So let's call him Armor Wing. I like it. The most important piece of any illustration is your signature because people need to know who drew it. And I actually have a pen name, The Franchise. So I'm going to put that here. And we're all done.
Would you believe that Superman was created by 2 high school students? Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster in Cleveland, Ohio. Over the years, Superman's story has grown and changed. Technology plays a huge role in translating a story from one medium to another, like turning a comic book into an animated series or a movie. Thanks to people like animator Lee Cree, new audiences are connecting to Superman's long-standing fight for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow in fresh, exciting ways.
My Adventures with Superman is a TV animated show, and it is pretty much about the early years of Clark Kent and Lois Lane.
I'd like to interview you for the Daily Planet.
Sorry, no comment.
It's really cute, it's really fun. Make it a little bit smaller. And when I do on that show specifically, I assist with character design, character layout, and if I'm lucky, I get to like animate some of the scenes sometimes, which is like my favorite thing to do. There are different stages of animation, so once the scripts are written, then we have our storyboard artist create the storyboards, which is the visual blueprint of this is how each shot in the scene will play out. And as you can see here, the storyboard artist didn't quite get all the proportions quite right. Clark's shoulders should be a little bit broader. Once we get the storyboards, then we, the character layout artists, will take those storyboards and put the characters in the scene and make sure everybody is like in the correct perspective, the correct heights, the correct clothes. Next, I would go in and do a rough pose of like how Clark should be standing in this direction. And also what type of expression he should make. So an expression sheet is a document where we go in and we clarify different facial expressions of a character. Happy, mad, shocked. But once I'm given all of my notes from my supervisor, I clean it all up, I'll add the shadows. And then the animators are kind of like actors where they breathe life into the characters. And then when you put it all together, that's animation. I think we can add a shadow here, because her hair is covering a lot more of her jacket. I'm specifically known for mostly 2D animation, unlike 3D animation, which you would use a camera and probably use CGI or computer-generated imagery. 2D animation traditionally would be on paper. You're basically taking multiple pieces of paper, drawing frame by frame, maybe like a character walking, and when you flip through that, it's like the illusion of life. Nowadays, we do it digitally on the computer. It's just pure magic for me every time, and words can't describe how grateful I am that I get to do this. Growing up, I always knew I wanted to work in animation. I was like 9 years old when I made that decision. When I had realized that, I started like reading the credits of like movies and TV shows that were all animated. And thankfully we had a home computer at my house at the time. And I realized, oh, there's not a lot of people who look like me behind the screen, but I still want to do this anyway. I always want to be mindful about what I'm putting on the page, because I'm not the only one who's going to see it. My bosses aren't the only one who's going to see it. There are thousands of people in this world who are going to see it and are going to get influenced by it. So I always want to put my best foot forward and just make good art that makes people happy. A good story always comes down to just a really good character that we, the audience, can relate to and want to root for. Don't be afraid to tell the stories that you want to tell, because there's always at least one person in the world that likes that story too and understands where you're coming from. And also, just be yourself. Like, there's only one you in the world, so tell the stories that you can only tell is my advice, because that's what got me here today.
Great stories create worlds that pull you in and make you feel like you're part of the action. This is the Warner Brothers Costume Department. There are more than 850,000 costume pieces that go in and out of here every year. It's like a library for clothes. They've got everything you need to tell a character's story through the clothes they wear. Every detail matters, from the music that sets the tone, right down to the costumes that help bring characters to life. It doesn't look like anything special, but behind this door is some of the most valuable and rare collections of all the DC superheroes. The archive room isn't open to the public, but you are about to get a look inside.
Inside these walls are books that are about pirates, and they're about romance and science fiction and westerns. If there's any kind of thing that's ever been published, DC has done it. Hi, I'm Benjamin LeClaire, and I am the Senior Manager of the DC Library Archives, otherwise known as the DC Archivist and House Historian. I'm responsible for knowing how this great thing called DC Comics existed throughout all the different periods of its history. Here we have two of the most important Superman comic books ever. We have pages of Superman's very first appearance in Action Comics. This comic is Superman #1, the first one to ever have his own title by his own name. I've seen things that people don't even know existed. We have an incredible poster collection, trading cards, which were a huge thing in the 1990s. We have board games, cereal boxes. We have incredible collections of video games and records, vinyl records. Something really cool that we've only recently gotten back, something very important to Batman. This is from 1940. This is the original first appearance of Robin the Boy Wonder, and the dynamic duo is born. So one of the greatest tasks I have before me is to try to find a way to acquire it all, preserve it all, and to scan it so that it'll be available for other generations. So keeping those on databases and servers, and the just sheer number of comics we have makes it a daunting task, but it keeps me awake at night when I think about what could get lost with this collection, or what's starting to deteriorate year by year. This cell and this sketch are pieces of 1 minute of Superman footage that's lost forever. So we're in a race against time to try to keep all of that American history in a format so that people can enjoy it and keep reading it for generations.
Stories have the power to inspire, unite, and change the way we see the world. And that's something truly special. Maybe the real superheroes are those who are brave enough to write the stories in the first place. A big thank you to all the storytellers who joined us on this virtual field trip to help us unlock the superpower of story. Those techniques, tools, and tricks can help you write your own story. Whether you want to illustrate a graphic novel or write the next big action movie, getting started just requires you to start. Good job, everybody. Ready? Start in now. Do you recognize the, I'm gonna do that again. Self-taught Superman. Oh my gosh. I literally like took a breath and I was like, bling. A perfectly dressed superhero. Sorry.